Hello, here is your super fun and super cool bamboo hybrid shakuhachi. Got relatively equidistant finger spacings here. They're, probably some of them are a little over a centimeter in terms of hole diameter. For average finger placement, they're relatively close together, so you won't have to like stretch too far, like on some of the larger base shakuhachis that you might have seen. Like this is a B, but like a low A and like a low G, which are kind of like some of the lowest ones that tend to be made, have really far finger spacing. Sometimes it's like, like pointer ring, like that sort of jump. You don't have to do that with this one. So that's great. So generally, like your three padded fingers, the largest pads, can kind of just figure out which, you can do peace fingers, or you could do ring fingers. I feel like either way, whatever is most comfortable for you, it should work. Thumb holes in the back. Let's see. It's got its roots still intact, which is really nice, or at least one section of the roots. The Japanese tend to feel that if you were able to make the flute with any of the root balls still intact, it preserves a lot of the chi and the magic inside of the instrument, which I tend to agree with as well, because I've made so many flutes over the years. So with this one, I tend to cut and shape my utaguchi a lot differently than a lot of the super standard shakuhachis that you might see. I do really enjoy the traditional utaguchi. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful design. Sometimes with certain pieces of bamboo, even if you're cutting it in the general way that's supposed to be cut, you sometimes might not get a lot of meat to make the sharp edge with. So I've kind of adjusted that particular aspect of the fluting over the years. So this will relatively resemble the same sort of style that you have to blow on with the shakuhachi. It could also be very similar to blowing on like a kana, or blowing on even a set of panpipes, or another Asian-inspired end blown style flute like a jiao. So ultimately, with this piece, like most shakuhachis, the easiest note that's going to be able to be hit first is all holes open. So if you want to get a general, I'll kind of position myself on the side here so that you can see what angle the instrument is pitched at. Not sure how many shakuhachis you've had a chance to put in your hands and play. So general tutorial. I'll keep the thumb hole closed while I'm doing this, just so that I can do an easy climb down. But the thing that I notice with this piece is if you use this, like where your lip starts to dip in before your lips come, like underneath your lip, and then you got the dip, and then you got your chin. Inside of this dip pocket right here, you're going to want to rest that on the back ridge line of this flute. Okay, and it'll sit there, like you'll feel it. It's nice and smooth, and it'll just kind of scoop underneath your lips. And the easiest thing to do is to keep rocking the flute up and down away from you until you hit the sweet spot. So, of course, you're supposed to be blowing over the sharp edge. Half of your wind is supposed to go down into the instrument, and the other half is supposed to be split and go over the edge here. So, generally, I'll show you how it makes noise by oscillating, and then once you understand what I'm doing, you can kind of just emulate it yourself and figure out where your particular sweet spot is for creating the embouchure. So here we go. there's a cool shakuhachi trick where if you bend it kind of away from you, not like down towards you, but away, you can do some pitch bending. But a lot of the pitch bending is supposed to be done with a combination of how you either bend the instrument away from you or the amount of force that you put into the instrument with your breath pressure and your lip technique. So ultimately, it's very, very forgiving as kind of like just understanding the way that your breath needs to kind of traject into the instrument. It's one of those things like once you get it, like once you understand what position to hold the flute in, the only thing that's going to, hinder your performance is hand cramping. So once your hands get used to holding the instrument and they stop cramping up just from just naturally, getting accustomed to a new instrument is part of the process. You will you'll get a good a good hold on it. Luckily, it's a nice light piece of bamboo. It's got great density to it for being like kind of on the lighter side. Like it's got really some thicker walls. I find that there's tends to be a very interesting sweet spot between having a bamboo that is too dense and not dense enough. So this one's on the sweet spot. You'll hear it when the flute starts to actually vibrate in your hands. It's very robust and warm sounding. It's very rounded out. All the sounds are very clean. And then it's also got some really nice upper register techniques if you can, get your embouchure proper. Normally, the shakuhachi is like an intermediate to advanced style wind instrument for most people in the wind world. It takes some practice, but it also takes some finesse. And that's the thing that I try to explain when I'm not, trying to get people to understand how to make a sound on like your standard Native American style flute or an ocarina or anything like that. So with the shakuhachi, the main thing with the shak and with most flutes is to just be patient with yourself and your own skill level and just let the flute and you have the conversations that you need to have in order to unlock the mysteries within. There's not too much complexity to this one. Like it's very straightforward, a standard climb from up, thumb hole, back down. And then your upper register is just increased airflow. So pretty much blow twice as hard and contour your embouchure so that your air is being even more precise and direct. And then you can hit at least... From with this piece, I think you can hit all four in the front with upper register. Let me give it a shot real quick. You might even be able to peel and squeal that thumb hole back too, if you get used to how this particular piece of bamboo needs to sing. And that's generally the main things that I can say about this. There's tons and tons of shakuhachi beginner tutorials on the internet if you need any extra pointers, especially YouTube. But for the most part, it's a very, very straightforward end blown style flute. So if you're patient with kind of achieving the embouchure with the mouthpiece and understanding what sort of lung capacity you need to make this thing sing, it will, it'll brighten up real quick for you as soon as you get used to its, general odds and ends. I think that's the most that I can say about it. I'll wipe this whole thing down before I send it out with some rubbing alcohol and sanitize it up for you. And aside from that, I'll probably ship it in 1 or 2 days. I'm going camping tomorrow, so I'll ship it the day after. I normally use UPS, generally like first class. And sometimes if the flute is heavier, it just gets upgraded to priority. Not sure what's going to happen with this one in particular. But, either way, you'll get it in a week or less, I think. So, beautiful white waxed linen bindings here. It's a really magical flute. Super good for crown chakra-oriented stuff. And it's super robust and clean and warm sounding. And I really am super grateful for you and supporting me and my life's work. So thank you so much. Happy tooting, and I hope this beauty and you have a long and happy, adventurous life together. So thank you so much from the deepest and loving part of my soul. I really appreciate you, and use this well, and it will treat you very well as well. So take care.